Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Welcome to start, please.
Okay. So my name is Love from English department. So today my topic is paradox. Sir, next slide, please. So what is paradox? Paradox is a situation where something can be true or untrue at both at the same time. So it is yes, sir. May I start?
Yes, carry on.
Okay. So paradox is a statement that can be that contradict itself at the same time. It can be both true or untrue at the same time. So it is basically used in a literature in also in our life. We have seen most of the sentences and the sentences that show us paradox. So I will give you some examples in the next slides. But basically, at this moment, I want to give you the definition what the paradox is. Paradox is simply a statement, or it can be a sentence that contradicts itself, and it can either be true or untrue at the same time. Next slide, please, sir. So, as I told you that I will give you an example in the next slide. So here is an example: coward die many times before their death. So what it is saying paradox, so basically the meaning is that the coward die many times. And how funny it is that how can a person can die many times? Mean there is a no death after a death. If someone dies, he or she dies. He or she cannot die again and again. So here it's a funny, it's look funny, but paradox is something that can, as I told you, that it can be either be true or untrue. It can contradict itself. Mean there is in this sentence there is an opposite, two opposites. One is die, and other thing is that it can die again and again. Mean there is a opposite, there is a contradict in its sentence itself. Next slide, sir. So paradox in literature, mean why the writer or author use paradox in their literature writing. It is because they are forcing to the reader that they can look at, take a deeper look at their understanding. Mean they want to show some humor type, or they want to make the reader to proactive reader, so that they can think for a moment at that when they are reading the literature, or reading, or any writing, or any we can say literature writing, or fictional characters, if they are reading about that. The next slide, please. So here is an example. I want to make you understand what the paradox is by many examples. So here is an example that the barber shaves everyone in town that does not shave himself. Who shaves barber? Mean what it is saying, that a barber can shave and everyone in the town. Everyone knows that what the barber does. The barber shaves, he cuts hair, cuts hair of everyone. But who cuts the hair of barber? So it is also a contradict, something that is funny, look funny, humor or witty type, and it's depend on the paradox that how it is prepared. You can say that there cannot be a one barber. If there is a shop of a barber, there cannot be a one barber. The other barber can cut, the barber can cut the hairs and shaves the first one. So it can be, but it is just showing something that is mean very first you were thinking, but you haven't answered that there could be a second barber. But it but by reading or by listening the sentence, you just take a deeper look at the sentence, that wow, a barber cannot shave himself, but he shaved everyone. So after that, I told you that there could be another barber who can cut or shave the first one. Next, please, slide. So here are other examples. You can save money by spending it. You and mean and how funny it is that you can save the money by spending it. Mean it's something, mean if you are spending the money, then how can you save it? But it's something funny, but it's also used in paradox. And there could be, and what I think is that you can save or earn the money by making
Actually,
investment.
it is not funny. There is a method in it. There is a reason in everything. So it's not funny,
Yes, sir. No,
but
sir,
there is a reason, wisdom behind
yeah,
things.
there is a reason, there is a reason behind things. But if a reader, mean we can say who is naive, who is reading for the first time, who don't understand, who don't know the meaning behind the literature, but for a naive person it looks funny that you can save the money by spending it. Mean we uh, we are the literature students, that's why we know there is a meaning. Mean I think that he is saying that you should spend money on the investment. Either you can buy a house or you can buy some stocks so that you can earn more. And they have ears but no, here not. Mean so they might be deaf. But jokes apart, but it is also a paradox, as it is contradicting itself, that they have ears but they hear not. Mean yeah, you can say that's also a paradox. Mean sometimes it makes us to take a deeper look at the sentence. This is something that is extraordinary in writing, to know the meaning behind the words. Next slide. Okay. I must be cruel to and there are some examples that are used in the literature. It is by William Shakespeare as the Hellman character itself saying that I must be cruel to be kind. Mean there is there is two opposites, a cruel and kind. How can be one person can be kind at the same time it can be a cruel? It is impossible. But what it is saying that I can be kind if I was if I must be uh, cruel to be kind. Mean to be kind, I have to be cruel, and there is something that is opposing itself. And there is also from the John Lennon, it is weird not be weird. How can be someone be weird if can be weird if he can be want to be weird if he is not weird? That something is differentiating itself. And what a pity that youth must be wasted on the young. And here it is saying that it is pity that youth must be wasted on the young. And as we know, the youth comes when we are young. The youth is not can be the youth cannot be enjoyed, or it can be immersed in the childish or in the old age. Next slide, sir. It is George Bernard, who also a writer. And so the conclusion is something logically questions with clear and questions with clear and with no clear answer. As I told you that there are something that is not uh, we cannot show, we cannot perceive the meaning of the sentence or something that is written or it is in front of our eyes. We have to think a deeper look. We have to go beyond the words, that so that we can understand the actual meaning, what it is want to convey a message, what it want to try to give a message to us. So it is paradox used for in the literature, that you can be an active reader, that you can be a good thinker, so that you can think beyond the words. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sir, I have another presentation.
Yeah, but you have to wait for that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Is he present?
Yes, sir.
Start.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Waqas. Today I have a presentation about propaganda. Sir, next slide. Basically, the propaganda is the theory of mass communication. Propaganda is the deliberate, systematic to shape perception, manipulate cognition, and direction behavior to achieve a response that further the desired intent of the propagandist. Basically, we have a group of people in our society. They capture the mind of the pupil of mind of pupil through propaganda and interpret their reasons. Basically, the use of propaganda for its aim and object. Slide. Back. सर पीछे वाली स्लाइड थी. इन्फॉर्मेशन सर
पीछे वाली तो केस बोल चुके ना.
नो सर उस कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ वो. Any information, idea, doctrine on special affair to influence the opinion, emotion, attitude, and behavior of any specific group in order to benefit the sponsor, either direct or indirectly. So basically, we have lots of way to propaganda in our society, like a playboard, election campaign, advancement, and playboard. The use propaganda of society, the change the interpretation of the pupil perception, pupil thinking for their objective aim. Sir, back one. Sir, back one. back one.
ये जो भी स्लाइड सामने उसको बताएं आप.
इसमें इसका बता.
हाँ.
It's an abuse of communication process. It's only done by then and EI different who fair public opinion will tell the truth. So basically, sir, the propaganda is invent Victorian and basically the weapon of psychological war. They use it for the pupil mind. They change the perception of perception and ideas, and they make its aim and achieve for its aim and objective. That's why they use the theory of propaganda. So next. What is really, it's a process communication, persuasion between sender and recipient. So basically the change the it change the interpretation is used. Our interpretation is manipulate the interpretation for its aim and object. Basically the use for they are achieving the object. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's different for its success, open creativity, and lies on the spectrum of communication of who was, what, when, how, and with what effect. So next. To Danish inform other form of communication, it's need to add why. Therefore, the question of intent is critical. So next. Characteristic of propaganda. Propaganda is the eye of the beholder. I am pursuing the other guy. It's using propaganda. Propaganda has a strong ideological bent. Example: Peter Queer Nation or the Army of God. Propaganda is the institute in nature. It's the practice of organized group, government, corporation, social movement, special interests. Earlier said about the groups of society they use and manipulated the perception of people, the ideas of people for our aim and objective. The businessman, the politician, mostly people use the propaganda of achieving their objective and their aims for a time, for a limited time, for a specific target. They use a propaganda. Propaganda is released on the mass persuasion, television, radio, internet, billboards. So basically nowadays we use the social media. We seen the lot of propaganda in our social media, in our TV channels, in the placard, political slogan. So mostly they use for achieving their aim and objective. The main historical campaign, the campaign against American neutrality 1914 to 70. After World War, sir, earlier mentioned after the World War I, World War II, the propaganda is a psychological weapon they use for their opponent for achieve the goal and the change the objective, the interpretant the objective of the society. We are hypnotized as a Robert is a snack 1990 worker of the world unite. The free world was slave world 1939 onwards, 1945 onward. Free market, liberal democrat, capitalism versus communism, and how the Q state exists of evil, the global war on terrorism. So next. Main propaganda theorist practice. Veteran invent the world propaganda of the culture, the of seed. So basically, the propaganda of cultures is like most of the color, the simple thing we use in our culture for our culture. That's also the propaganda. The authoritarian made Muslim Soviet Union. Sir, previous one.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is he present? Is he present? No. Start. Is he present?
Yes, sir.
Start.
Assalamu to everyone. I am Kripal Das from BS English, 9th bench, 8th semester. So next slide. My present topic is metonymy. The first of all, the word metonymy comes from the Greek word and change of name from metro after. Sir, metonymy, sir, ये मैंने दे दिए.
क्या दे
मैंने
दिया?
सर MDA के देनी है. Media discourse analysis.
ये दे दिया आपने?
Yes, sir.
फिर क्यों भेजा आपने इसे?
सर दो भेजे हैं. ये भी है सर, वो MGA के दोनों.
ये आपने दे दिया है क्या?
Yes, sir.
तो फिर क्यों भेज दिया इसे यार आपने? अगर दे
सर
दिया
ये
तो।
आज तो नहीं भेजा है.
Start.
Okay, sir. First of all, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kripal Das, BS English. My topic is indirect mode of address with advancement. So next slide. Indirect mode of address or media. Using an indirect mode of address is possibly one more complex vocabulary, and broadcast newspapers likely to be more formal language and tabloid behavior by those represented within the medium in which they are either unaware of having an audience with their character.
Don't read. Give presentation. Don't do reading.
Yes,
Explain
sir.
them if you can.
Indirect. Yes, sir. Indirect mode of address media. Indirect mode. Address media is possibly more complex vocabulary. Just paper a news a broadcaster newspaper likely to be used more formal language and literature than tabloids behavior by those represented within a medium in which they are either unaware of having an audience service character in most. Indirect mode offers many texts the audience do not expect as direct mode of address. In television programs and film, it would be unusual for the character to step out of film word and speak directly to the audience. indirect mode of address and especially tracks in the television program, film, and character and word and speak indirectly in the audience. So next slide. Um, this mode of addressing where the instruction uh, content of the address of their location where the target address is stored. So in this way is indirectly storing in the address of the target location in another memory location. So it called indirect address mode. This would connect amongst other things imperative perhaps of the faculty on the part of the tracks and its common technique and documentary. Although at first glance it would appear not like create such a strong perfect rating. Audience target audience preferred reading different backgrounds mode of address. So, next slide. Indirect mode of address is when the media tracks is not speaking to you specifically. Next slide. Indirect mode of address. In this picture, she feel pain, become she crying in the heart, certain in her life is going to be trouble. So next slide. Indirect mode of address. In this picture, for example, he is listening to another, and one making of the sense of other words and making mood of understanding to it. So next. Indirect mode of in this picture, he is on the stage and making a mood that how I am deliver my thoughts and presentation, what other things and how I deliver my indirect mode of address. In this picture, this man probably notice some things and they to making moods, some enjoying this is happen. This is happening. Next one. Indirect mode of address. In this picture, two men and woman are taking at each other while third one listening and taking the mood of appearance, showing that's a one that's some things and funny. So next, click. Indirect mood of us. In this picture, it's a ad in which her mood is saying sadder she love much to try herself and the others. She love this ad and crazy about it. In this picture, she is in the exam hall solving the paper and her mood expressing that she is writing a right answer. So next. In this picture, showing that Sir love his wife very much and promising her, don't worry, darling, we don't burn this beer. So this harder wife works the cutter she looks, showing that he loves with wife very much and promising her, don't worry, darling, we don't burn with beer. So thank you.
Thank you. Who is left?
Yes, sir.
Name?
Sania.
Where is your presentation?
Sir, I have sent.
Right now?
No, sir.
Send me right now.
Okay.
Is he present? Is he present? Is he present?
Yes, sir.
Start.
Yes, sir. So today my topic is about the subordinate conjunction. But first, sorry, sir, I have to introduce myself first. My name is Sunil Kumar, and I am from 8th semester student, 9th batch, and I have to present on the subordinate conjunction. So next slide, please, sir.
Which one is this? Media discourse analysis or literary discourse?
No, it's the first one.
Literary discourse and journalistic writing?
Yes, yes. Yes, yes. I have already presented on the media discourse. Yes, this one. So subordinate conjunction is a kind of conjunction. And first, to understand subordinate conjunction, we have to understand the definition of conjunction itself, which is a part of a speech. Next slide, sir. What is conjunction? Conjunction is basically a connecting word which connects a word, phrase, or a clause to another word, clause, and phrase. There are three types of conjunction: subordinate conjunction, coordinate conjunction, and correlative conjunction. But my solely focus would be on the subordinate conjunction in this presentation. Next slide, sir. And definition of subordinate conjunctions. Subordination is basically a type of conjunction that connects dependent clause to an independent clause. For example, a dependent clause is to understand what is subordinating, what is independent and dependent clause. We have to define first what is dependent clause. Dependent clause is one that lacks subject in the sentence, and independent clause is one that has object which stands on its own grounds. Next slide, sir. For example, in the given sentences that I have added in the presentation, a dependent clause is one that is before the comma, and independent is one that starts after the comma. And in this whole sentence, although is the word that connects both these sentences. For example, although Ali studied is very hard in the final semester, this is independent clause. No, this is dependent clause because it lacks any object. If we withdraw, if we delete second part of the sentence, it has no meaning. But when it comes, for example, still he failed to achieve good grades to his tussle with professor. This whole sentence is incomplete without the word although, because it connects both words, both parts of the sentence. And the next in the next example, Pakistan failed to win the match because of its batting. The word because here plays a role as a subordinated conjunction because it connects two clauses. One is independent and the other is dependent. So next slide. In this way, all of these given lists are the examples of the subordinate conjunction. We can use all of them in a way that that can shape our language. They can shape a structure of sentence. That is the way we have to use subordinate conjunction. So that's it, sir.
It's very little, very short presentation.
Sir, it is. I can define one by one example, but I think it was.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, my presentation is still in pending.
Great.
Okay, sir.
Just these, literary discourse and journalistic writing. Then
Okay, sir.
after this year, but don't go away.
Okay, I am here, sir.
Start.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Sania Albaksh from BS English 9th batch. And my topic is ambiguity. Ambiguity refers words, sentence, or statement which have more than one meaning. Means it creates confusion to understand about the words or phrase which we have so many meanings. Means if a word is unclear, so it means that there is something ambiguity. It is ambiguity. Ambiguity means hints if something is wrong, if something is not clear in a word or in sentence, it means it is ambiguity. For example, if I say a murderer killed the students with a bow, this sentence has ambiguity because it is not clear that how someone killed student with a book. So next, please. Words or sentence, they have more than one meanings. It creates many of confusion between confusion for people. They cannot speaker they cannot understand, because if a word it has more than one meaning, we cannot understand what they actually want to say, what the exact meaning is, what they actually want to say. It means that ambiguity is that one. Ambiguity is that which creates confusion. Next, please. There are two types of ambiguity. One is structural ambiguity and one is lexical ambiguity. In structural ambiguity, if you use a sentence which is unclear, that in that sentence ambiguity means a sentence that in there's ambiguity. And in lexical it means that a word is having more than one meaning. If we use a single word, means if we use bank has two meanings. These are the things which creates confusion. So next, please. Structural ambiguity, it is means if a sentence having more than one meaning. If I say her boy saw a man with a telescope, her boy saw a man with a telescope, it has two meanings. Either her boy saw with help of telescope, or he saw a man having a telescope. So next, please. As in lexical, the example is, I will